My name's Chelsea Bainbridge Donner. I'm part of the Atos team, and right now I'm training at Art of Jiu-jitsu with the Mendes Brothers. Well, I started when I moved back to the United States from Hong Kong. I moved to San Diego, and I started training with Andre Galvao at Atos San Diego. I actually got my black belt from Andre this year, and I was really happy to be part of that team. But I found that as Atos kind of grew, it grew in size as well. So all the guys started to get bigger and bigger, and they were middleweights, and then they were middle heavyweights and heavyweights. And up at Art of Jiu-jitsu, it's a much physically smaller team. There's more light featherweights and featherweights, so it was just a better fit for me size-wise. I think one of the biggest strengths of Art of Jiu-jitsu is that the gym itself is very professional. I think it becomes a much more welcoming place, particularly for families, for women and children, because you go in and it's all white. If you've never seen it, it's all white. You wear white gis, and in a white gym, you can see if the place is dirty. So I think it just is more attractive to people who otherwise have never been part of martial arts before, and because they can see that it's just a more professional environment. Other gyms might be professional environments, but they may not appear to be such. In both Atos San Diego and at Art of Jiu-jitsu, you can't really step on the mat without stepping on the mat with multiple world champions, which is just an unreal experience. You know, you get top of the line training every time you're on the mat, no matter what. Art of Jiu-jitsu, like I said, is a little bit different because the guys are just physically a little bit smaller. Rafa and Guy Mendes are featherweights and light featherweights, and Bruno Frazzato is a featherweight, so you know they have a different game as a result. The women's team in Atos San Diego is also very strong. Angelica Galvao, Andre's wife, is a very good black belt. She just won Europeans at black belt, and I was really lucky to have her as a training partner for so long. At Art of Jiu-jitsu, there's some very good purple belts and some very good blue belts, including Rafa and Guy's wives, Samira and Renata Mendes. My first match at Worlds this year was my hardest. It was 8 minutes. It was about 7 minutes long, and I was down on points, and I managed to submit my opponent in the very last minute of the fight. And I think after that, after getting through that fight, the rest was I just went out and did jiu-jitsu after that. My nerves were gone. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't scared. I felt good, and I ended up submitting all my opponents. So I couldn't have asked for a better tournament at all. And then Professor Galvao gave me my black belt on the podium, and it was an unreal experience all around, and I couldn't have asked for a better Worlds this year. Well, I have a lot of respect for Leticia Ribeiro. I think that she grew the sport very much in a time when there maybe weren't so many women practitioners, and she's managed to grow a very strong female team. And she's just a legend in the sport. The guys at Pride asked me to come over and help them establish their women's team a little bit further. So I came here and I started working with some of the girls here, some of the women here. The cultural differences are such that sometimes women aren't comfortable rolling with men here, so they needed a high-level female practitioner to come out and help them out, so I was happy to do that. There are definitely unique struggles that women face in jiu-jitsu. Just being on the mat with men all the time, it can be draining and exhausting, and sometimes women can feel like they are being overlooked because their male training partners get more attention, or maybe they feel like they're getting too much attention. I mean, it just really depends on the training environment. Women face different struggles in competition. Cutting weight is harder. Making weight is harder. There are so many things that only other female athletes understand, and I think it's really relieving for a lot of women to be able to talk to somebody who's gone through all that before. I'm fairly well traveled, so I didn't so much experience culture shock, but Dubai itself is it's a massive city. The scale of everything is huge. And that's a little bit overwhelming at first. All the buildings are just massive, and you know, the city itself is it's in a desert. So there's city and then there's nothing, and that's very unusual. And I just recently got the chance to go up to Abu Dhabi and see the mosque, which was just fabulous. It was one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank my sponsors. Show Your Roll is my gi sponsor, Newaza Apparel, Pony Club Grappling Gear, and Get a Grip. And I'd also like to thank my gym. Mendes Bros have been great. They've been really fantastic coaches. And as far as being here, I'll be here for another 2 weeks or so, so I'd like to get a chance to train with any women that are around that are interested in training with a female black belt.